And welcome to a very special edition of Elite Rainbow Rumblecopter. Today with me I have the fabulous Matt Sturges.
Hi.
Of comic book writing fame. Hi. Why do you keep staring at me like that?
I don't know. Should I be staring somewhere else? I'll look right over here from now on. Does it bother you that I stare at you?
No, it doesn't bother me.
All right.
All right. So how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm having a really nice time. I've never been to Colorado before. Never been to Denver, obviously. So I really love it here. It's a beautiful place, except it's kind of sucking right now weather-wise, but otherwise It's great. Yeah.
Well, we were here a couple days ago where it was gorgeous and sunny, and
yes.
The next day it dropped 20 degrees.
Yes.
All right. So first I want to talk about that very rude man who just walked by and could not go around. But first I want to talk about House of Mystery. It's a series that I've been following faithfully since issue 1, and
awesome.
I enjoy very much. And if you just want to give our audience a little background on how you decided to resurrect the theme.
Sure. It started appropriately enough as a conversation in a bar where Bill Willingham, the writer of Fables, came up to me and he goes, "I have an idea. We're going to bring back House of Mystery and you're going to write it." And I said, "Okay." And then we sat in the bar and talked for a few hours about what we wanted the thing to be, and what we came up with was we wanted to do an anthology because you don't see a lot of anthologies on the shelves, and the reason is that people don't tend to buy them. So we tried to come up with a premise that would let us sort of do an anthology, but still have an ongoing story so that people would, buy it. And what we came up with was this bar, because we were in a bar, I guess, that sat at this crossroads of worlds. And so people from any time and any place could come in and tell stories. And in exchange for their stories, they would get free food and drink. So each issue has a story that's told by typically one of the visitors to the bar. And it's illustrated by a different artist each month. So we have the fun of being able to tell a whole different story every issue, and also get to work with all these amazing artists like Ross Campbell and Gilbert Hernandez and Bernie Wrightson, and just this laundry list of my icons. So that was the basic premise, and then we needed a story too. So we decided that the people who worked at the bar are trapped there, and they don't know why. And our protagonist is a gal named Fig Keel, who shows up, and she unwittingly becomes sort of the new waitress at the bar. And it's the story of Fig figuring out who she is and why she's there, and what's going to become of her.
It's been very interesting these last few issues. I've been wondering what the hell's going on.
Good.
All right. My next question. So, what has been your favorite project to date that you've worked on?
I guess, the thing that stands out in recent memory was the House of Mystery short story that I wrote for John Bolton, because he's one of my favorite artists in the whole world, and getting to work with him was just a super treat, and the story came out really well. It's called Romantic Comedy with Corpses, and it's about two young vampires in love.
That is very romantic. All right, so you are now writing JSA All Stars, in addition to all these other wonderful comics that you're writing. Is there a huge difference when you're writing superhero versus non-superhero characters? I mean,
Yeah, there's a big difference. When you're writing superhero fiction, one of the really important things you have to keep in mind is that there's continuity and history there, and that you are creating new stories, but you're also paying homage to a lot of things that have come before. And so you have to kind of find your way among all the different interpretations of those characters in the past and find the thing that resonates the most for you. And then, along the way you're going to, make a lot of people mad because it's not the character that they wanted it to be. But you can't help that. Whereas doing, the things that I do for Vertigo, we get to create these things from whole cloth. So while in some ways it's a challenge because it requires a lot more originality, you have to create all new characters and all new situations. It's more rewarding because something like House of Mystery I really feel a deep personal connection to, whereas JSA is something that I am just one participant in a much larger world of creation.
A tiny cog in a giant machine.
A tiny cog in a giant machine, yeah.
So do you find it really difficult or exciting when you are taking the baton, so to speak? Being handed off the baton for these characters that have been around for a long, long time.
Yeah, and especially JSA, because those characters have been around for, like 70, 80 years. They have an enormously long history. There are fans that have really strong opinions about those characters. And the last guy to write it was Jeff Johns, who is someone that people feel very strongly about, and who had been writing the book for like 10 years, and had, along with David Goyer, had really kind of recreated this whole mythos, for a new audience. And so we knew going into it, Willingham and I, that there were going to be people who hated it, because no matter how awesome we managed to make it, it wasn't going to be Jeff. And I understand that.
Right.
I mean, there's that love, that synergy between a particular creator and a particular book. And but Jeff couldn't do the book anymore, and so someone had to do it. And I'm just glad it was me.
Well, I'm glad it was you too.
Yeah.
Should hopefully be excellent. I'm holding you to it to be excellent.
Okay.
My last question is about digital comics and the iPad and the new distribution. How do you feel about that?
I'm really refraining from taking a stand on what all that means, because A, I'm not that informed, and B, I think it's still too early to speculate. I think Marvel has done a smart thing by releasing stuff out, particularly for that iPad audience, and I think it's just going to be a question of, will it catch on? Will readers take to it?
Right.
I know that a lot of people are downloading comics illegally, and like with music, a lot of people downloaded a lot of music illegally. Not that I ever did it, mind you, but I will say that when things like iTunes and the Amazon MP3 store showed up, I was very eager to buy music legally.
Right.
And so I hope that the people who are downloading comics via BitTorrent and stuff will be encouraged to instead pay for them digitally, because that's good for everybody. A book like Vertigo, the titles that Vertigo puts out, those things don't sell more than sometimes just a few thousand copies. And so if there are 1,000 people downloading it instead of paying for it, that could cancel that book. So it's a very real threat. So that's one thing that I hope would change. But at the same time, there's the collector mentality in comic books. People really love the comic as object.
I do.
And I really like to read books, So I don't see that going away anytime soon. I don't think anyone has to worry about it. But I imagine there will come a time when you'll see a lot more things happening digitally, and that may be for no other reason that the price of paper gets so high that it's not, it's too cost prohibitive to really put out comics that people can afford.
All right. Well, thank you, Matt, for your time.
You're very welcome.
Do you have anything else you'd like to say to the people of Australia?
People of Australia, I love your quirky cinema, and I love your sexy accent, and I hope you will buy my comics. And I have a new novel coming out from Pyre Books in June called The Office of Shadow. Check it out. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.